What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the February 17th, 2011 edition of Ask the King. I'm DSP, and I'm here to answer your forum and Twitter questions. Remember, if you ever want to ask me something, you can always go to thekingofhd.com, and in the forums there is the Ask the King thread. There'll always be a thread for the next upcoming episode of Ask the King. And also you can post up Twitter questions on my Twitter account. They call me DSP. The day of me doing an Ask the King video, and I always post that up on Twitter that day so that people know that it's open for submission. So here we go, a lot of questions that I wanted to answer for you. Some of these are going to have really quick answers, but I think that it's just because a lot of the questions are pertaining to things that have been going on, like Marvel vs. Capcom 3's release this week and stuff like that. So, alright, let's get to it. First question says, "Hey Phil, your popularity has hit a new high, and it seems as though you're becoming sort of like the angry video game nerd and the nostalgia critic in terms of popularity." Well, first of all, before I even continue with the question, thank you for saying that. I honestly have no idea, how popular I'm becoming. I definitely wouldn't say I'm as popular as the angry video game nerd. I mean, that guy has, hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of views on all of his videos. And I would think that he's a little bit more well-known than I am, but then again, I'm full-time on YouTube and he's not, so I don't know. But anyway, thank you for that compliment. I take that as a huge compliment. James Rolfe and Doug Walker have a lot of questions and answers. So do you see yourself as going to conventions for Q&As and such in the future, as well as the possibility of DVDs? And that question's from ComicFan18. Well, yes and no. Here's the thing. If I go to, say, one of these conventions, absolutely, I'd love to mingle with the fans, meet everyone. I would definitely consider doing a Q&A session, but one of the ones that I definitely wanted to go to was MagFest, and unfortunately I missed the date, the cutoff date to register and have a table and even register for an event like a Q&A or anything like that, because at that point I didn't know if I was going to be able to be doing these videos as a full-time job. So there is another one coming up. I believe it's called Too Many Games. I think that may be in May. And that is somewhere in the tri-state area, or maybe it's just the northeast of the United States. I'm not sure where. But anyway, the bottom line is this. I'd definitely be interested in doing it. I'm not so sure. I did a search a month or two ago for like popular gaming conventions, and honestly, I didn't really see a lot of them. I think what it is a lot of them are like combined with anime conventions and stuff like that. And being that I'm not a part of that scene, I don't really know what's popular and what's not. But yeah, if I ever did go to one, I'd definitely consider doing a Q&A session about anything. The thing is, though, I have Asked the King every 2 weeks, and I usually do answer a lot of the fan questions. So unlike Doug Walker or unlike James Rolfe, who don't have this kind of a deal and this kind of interaction with their fans, I think I have a little bit more of a personal touch, and I end up answering a lot of your questions anyway. In regards to a DVD, I'd be pretty hard-pressed to figure out what the hell I could sell on a DVD, considering everything that I do is video game footage. And it's one thing to put it on YouTube, and it's another thing entirely to try to sell it with copyright issues and such. I'm sure that I could always defend myself and say it's fair use, it's a creative work because I have live commentary and criticism over what I'm doing. But at the same time, I'd have to probably go to court if someone tried to sue me for it, and that might not be worth the hassle. Plus, I honestly don't have any kind of a means to mass-produce DVDs, so I don't know. I mean, it's always up in the air, but for now it's not something I'm really looking to do in the immediate future. What I mean by that is sell DVDs. Alright, next question. Phil, what is your stress reliever? And that's from Kuchar1992. Well, I have to admit, that what I like to do usually is if I have a stressful day or a really busy day, or I'm just tired for whatever reason, I plop down on my couch, I lay down, I have a nice drink, rum and coke, or, a vodka cran, and I watch some TV, which is pretty much what most of America still does. I TiVo a lot of different shows, including wrestling, as you know, because I do the Smart Guys show. But a couple other things that I watch, a lot of the prime time shows that a lot of people like House or Bones and that kind of stuff I enjoy. I actually watch some of American Idol because I find it hilarious during the auditions, and then I also find it hilarious later in the season when normally they end up with like a top 10, and out of the top 10, 7 of them suck, and it's like, how the fuck did they vote these idiots in? So I like some of that stuff. I like America's Got Talent. I actually really like that show, even though a couple of years ago I think it was rigged. But yeah, there's different things I do, and every once in a while you might say, gee, do you ever play a video game to relax? Well, the bottom line is I actually do enjoy just like kind of messing around with video games. Sometimes when I'm making videos, it is relaxing for me. Like when I was doing those Halo fan appreciation matches, I didn't care about winning. It was relaxing just to like sit there and interact with fans and have fun. So yeah, there's a lot of different things I do as stress relievers. Next question. Hey Phil, on Super Street Fighter 4 or any fighting game, what do you think is the most difficult motion to pull off in a match? Is it the motion like Guile's Ultra 1 or his Ultra 2, which involves a lot of charging and moving back and forward? And also, what are your thoughts on the costume packs or DLC for games like Super Street Fighter 4 where developers just keep adding stuff? Thanks, and that's from Mandark FFF. Well, first of all, the hardest move to pull off in a fighting game is a 720, which means you need to do two full circles to get the move to come out, simply because you can't usually do it without buffering something to make you stand in place so you don't jump by accident, or by jumping and then trying to land and get it perfect timing. There are people that have perfected the move where they actually could do it so fast they could do a standing 720, meaning they don't have to buffer off of anything, they don't have to jump to do it, they can actually walk up and then all of a sudden do a 720 throw super, which is pretty crazy. But outside of that, the hardest motion to pull off was probably something like Geese Howard's super in the King of Fighters series, where it was like down back, half circle back, down forward, and the buttons together, and it was multiple buttons you had to push at the same time. A lot of the SNK older fighters, like Fatal Fury, the original King of Fighters games, had a lot of more difficult motions than what a lot of the games have evolved to these days. How do I feel about DLC costume packs? I mean, they are what they are. It's not like it's essential to gameplay to have all the costumes, you know what I mean? In fact, I haven't bought all the costumes for Super Street Fighter 4, and I really don't give a shit. It's a cheap way for Capcom to make money, and since it's optional content, I don't think that anyone should be putting up a gripe about it. Okay? Next question. Do you think that games that are released for only one system get more or less sales? I guess he's talking about console exclusives. Do you think if a game that is released for the Xbox only would get more sales than the PS3 or the other way around? That's from PS360. And to be completely honest, this is not an opinion question. This is a factual question because I know the answer to this. Do you think that games that are released for only one system get more or less sales? They get less. For example, if Black Ops only came out for 360, it would have had a lot less sales than if it was out for both Xbox 360 and PS3. That's a no-brainer. If it's on two consoles, it's going to sell more. But the question of, do Xbox exclusives or PS3 exclusives sell more? That's also a no-brainer. It's definitely Xbox exclusives. Number one, simply because there are more Xbox 360 sold worldwide total than there are PS3s. And number two, because a lot of people, they choose the console exclusive games. No, actually, you know what? I thought that one out the wrong way. I mean, that's really the answer, just because there's more Xboxes out there than there are PS3s. You know, you look at games like Gears of War, the Mass Effect 1 and 2, and compare their sales with, you know, exclusives like Uncharted. I mean, you're going to find that probably they're equal, if not more. I would probably say that, like, the Halo games completely blow away any of the console exclusives that have been on PS3. But I'm not saying those games are better by any means. I'm just saying fact is a fact. And the fact is, Xbox 360 exclusives in general sell more than PS3 exclusives. Okay, next question. Hey Phil, congrats on beating the odds of becoming a YouTube partner. Thank you, even though it's not really me, it's my partnership program through Machinima. What do you think of the revolutionary facial animation engine used in the upcoming LA Noire game by Rockstar? Would this be, or could this be 2011's version of Heavy Rain? And that's by Solid Snake. Well, by the way, Solid Snake isn't the only person asking me about LA Noire. A lot of people have been asking me about this game, and I have to say, the game's looking really good. It's a Grand Theft Auto style game, and again, people say, oh, well, isn't that just a rip-off of Grand Theft Auto? Isn't that all that Rockstar can do? First they did Grand Theft Auto, then they did Red Dead Redemption, now LA Noire. The game is nothing like Grand Theft Auto, though. I've read up on this, and it's more of a very interesting mystery thriller. It's a lot about detective work. Sorry about that. A little on the tired side. It's a lot about detective work. It's actually about using this facial recognition software that they used. Excuse me. Really captured the little nuances in facial movements, in eye movements, things like that. And you're going to see, if you look at the footage of this game, the faces look super realistic. I actually have a friend who has a friend or an acquaintance who's an actor, and they actually hired him to scan his face and actually act out some of his role in this game, which is really cool that they're actually getting real actors to do motion capture with this new revolutionary technology. Do I think this game's going to be 2011's version of Heavy Rain? I mean, it has potential to be. I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure that this game is going to be so much different from the sandbox concept. And being that we just had Red Dead Redemption last year, I don't know, maybe a lot of people will be turned off. I don't know. I want to reserve my judgment until I play it. It seems like it's going to be an original game. It does seem like it has a lot of elements that could make it a very, very unique experience. So let's just see together when we get to play it. Check my time here. Alrighty. Next question. Hey Phil, a while ago I was watching the Dead Pixels show, Inside Gaming on Machinima. And on one of the episodes he mentioned Tyra Banks yelling at some guy and telling him off for game addiction on her show. She was saying things like, "You're 23, not 13, and other shit. While watching, I was thinking to myself how funny it would be to see Tyra Banks play Black Ops. But anyway, what's your opinion on game addiction?" And that is from Single Cell 55. Well, I didn't see the Tyra Banks show. I'm not going to comment, out of perspective of what was going on in that show. I have no idea. I mean, maybe the guy that was on the show plays Black Ops, 70%, 80% of his time. And if that's the case, that's really fucked up. I mean, I myself am doing this gaming as a full-time job, and even I take several hours out of the day to do other things. So I do know for a fact there are people that get so addicted to games, not only FPS games like Black Ops, but especially MMORPGs like World of Warcraft. I know people who started playing World of Warcraft and people didn't see them for 3 fucking years. And that's scary, okay? I mean, there's a fine line. If you can turn gaming into something that's more than just a hobby or a way to kill time, a pastime, if you would, then I could say, okay, maybe you warrant spending that kind of serious time playing it. But these people, they take these games that have a social aspect like World of Warcraft and they use it as a replacement for their own life, usually because these people don't like their own real lives, and so they try to escape to this virtual world, and that's pretty scary. So yeah, I mean, gaming addiction definitely can exist. I know it does exist for a fact. Is it a huge epidemic? Probably not. Games are just starting to hit the mainstream at this point. They're becoming big business, and I think that most games don't really fit that archetype of a game that you would be so addicted to that all you want to do is play that game nonstop. There's very few games like maybe Black Ops, the Call of Duty series, and the MMORPGs that are like that. Maybe some of these stupid social networking games like, I forget what it is, Farmville or whatever on Facebook. I don't know because I don't use Facebook, so I don't know what the hell the game is. But that kind of stuff can get highly addictive, and if you notice that it's starting to impede upon other things that you need to do, like work, school, your own life, eating, friends, family, that kind of stuff, that's when you have to kind of take a step back and say, listen, I need to reevaluate what the hell I'm doing with my life. So, yeah, game addiction exists. I think it's silly. I have no idea what Tyra Banks was saying. Knowing her, she probably was blowing it completely out of proportion and it had nothing to do, she didn't know what she was talking about, but who knows. Alright, next question is, do you think getting famous around the internet changed you in some way? And that's from David Porges. Again, I have to kind of say, I guess I'll take that as a compliment and say thank you, because I sure don't feel famous. Besides the fact that I no longer have a 9-to-5 job in an office and I'm doing something different to get paid, that's pretty much the only change that I really feel. I don't really feel like, so much has changed in my life. I mean, I'm not filthy rich by any means. That's crazy. I'm actually waiting to see if this whole partnership with Machinima is going to work out to even support me. I don't have women knocking down my door. I'm not on TV. I'm not all over the internet. Besides my own YouTube stuff and a couple other related things, like I do want to thank Event Hubs for featuring my Marvel vs. Capcom 3 tutorial series. It actually got a nice boost in views when they did that, so thank you. But yeah, besides being seen around the net for that kind of stuff, I'm not a household name by any means. So, again, I take your statement as a compliment, as getting famous around the internet, because I really don't feel famous. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Next question. Hey, Phil. Back in the day before I even started watching your vids, I was subscribed to this guy who called himself Drac on YouTube. Okay. I used to think he had the best playthroughs until I found your Bioshock 2 videos and started loving it. From that point on, I pretty much stopped watching Drac's vids. However, I still subscribe to him. And today I saw a video on his channel. In that video, he basically called you a douchebag and said you are a lazy fuck for not looking for a new job. He also said he's pissed off that your fans compare him to you. I was just wondering, what is your take on this? I didn't comment on his video. I thought informing you was the best thing to do, and that's from Mahan1372. Well, this is an interesting comment. Let me take a sip before I answer this one. I guess the best way to answer this one is this. I'm going to reread one particular sentence of this question. I found your Bioshock 2 vids and started loving it, and from that point on, I pretty much stopped watching Drax vids. Okay. Why do you think that if people who used to watch other people's playthroughs watch mine, and then stop watching everyone else's, why do you think that is? It's probably because there's some element of my videos that people find either more entertaining or more informative, or for whatever reason, they like it more than these other people that are doing playthroughs. I'll tell you right now, I have no idea who Drac is. I really don't give a shit. And this guy actually linked me to this guy's video where apparently he's calling me names and yelling and ranting about me. I don't care. I didn't watch it. The bottom line is I hear about this kind of stuff every single day. There's people out there who claim that they beat me in Street Fighter who I've never heard of. There's people that say, oh, how dare he try to turn this into a job? This is supposed to be a hobby. There's so many people who just are so upset that someone like me, number one, is becoming popular when they've been trying to do the same thing and they've been unsuccessful. And number two, that it looks like I might be making a living doing this. So I understand that exists. You're going to have that element. You're going to have the haters. You're going to have people that are jealous. You're going to have people that just don't get you. And that's fine. Like I said, I've said this 100 times before. I'll say it again. If there are people who are hating on you, but you also have people who like you, it means you're doing something right. Because if people are seriously like hating on you, there's something right that you're doing, that they're jealous, or there's some element that they want to try to bring you down. So I don't know. I don't know what this guy's problem is. Maybe I rubbed him the wrong way somehow. I don't give a shit. Again, I don't know who he is, so I'm not even going to comment. Like, he thinks that like he's going to say all this nasty shit about me when I have no idea who he is or never even heard of him. I mean, it is what it is. This guy was a fan of his, watched my video, thought my video was more entertaining, stopped watching Drac, so of course now Drac has a bug up his ass about me. Gee, maybe if you did something more interesting than what I do, you'd get your fans back, but obviously that hasn't happened, so instead you're just going to resort to shit talking and name calling, whatever. You know, enjoy your ride to fucking obscurity. Let's see. Still got a little bit of time. Let's keep going here because I have so many questions. I'm trying to really pack them in this week's episode. Next question is, are you ever going to make DSP Tries It, Cooking with the King, etc. ever again? And that's from the Elvin God. That's a good question. It's not just Elvin God asking that. It's just many, many people asking me that. And the bottom line is this. The fact of the matter is that those series were created back when I was a YouTube partner on my channel, The King of Hate HD. YouTube wasn't allowing me to put gaming footage on that channel, so I had to find filler content, basically, and more entertaining content to entertain people so they would watch those videos that had the ads for the partnership program on them. Now that I'm completely out of that, as you noticed when I was on Blip I was still doing that stuff, but now that I'm completely out of that, the channels that I have that are partnered are for gaming purposes only. Machinima doesn't want me putting junk up on these channels, DSP Gaming or DSP Street Fighter. And not to say that DSP Tries It and Cooking with the King, Poorly Cooking with the King by the way was the name of it, are junk, but they don't fit the content that Machinima has partnered me to create. And for me to continue to make those series, that would be nice, but number one, it doesn't benefit me at all, and number two, it really does. It's going to take me time away from the stuff that I need to do to keep going. So, for example, sure, today I could do a Cooking with the King and I could do a DSP Tries It, but that's going to take me away a couple hours from when I could be playing Marvel 3 and I could be learning new stuff. I could be making more tutorial videos. I could be making more gameplay videos. And that's really what I need to do to survive right now. So, let me put it to you this way. I'm not retiring the series. They're not permanently going away necessarily. The way that partnership with these companies really works successfully is that you build up such a catalog of material, okay, that you're getting so many views on a daily basis, like I still do over on Dark Side Phil. People still watch the hell out of that channel. Now, I'm not in the top 100 every day by any means, but I still get several thousand views on the Dark Side Phil channel every day. Now, if I was getting credit for those views through the partnership program, then hell, I could have entire days where I don't have to put out any content and I don't have to worry about paying the bills because I have consistent revenue coming in for content that was created in the past. Now, right now, I'm not even near there. As you know, Darkside Phil is not partnered. DSP Gaming and DSP Street Fighter have some of the vids, the backlog has actually had ads added to them. You might notice, for example, if you go to watch an older playthrough like Black Ops, you'll notice, hey, what the hell, there's ads on all those videos, and Phil made these videos before he was working with Machinima. Well, Machinima actually had some people go back and try to add ads to a lot of the older videos that were more popular. So once I build up a catalog, which will probably be a couple years, to be honest, probably going to be 2 to 3 years of me doing this consistently, then I might have a lot more free time because I don't have to have so much pressure as keep making videos so that you can pay the bills. And then I might be able to bring back more casual series like DSP Tries It and Cooking with the King. But for now, I'd rather focus on the gaming stuff. Let's get the fan base going for DSP Street Fighter and DSP Gaming. Let's blow up these channels. Let's make them just as big as Darkside Phil was and is, which actually has, I believe, over 88,000 subscribers as of today. And, you know, once I get there, then we can start looking to do optional stuff. I have time for one more question before we break here. The question is, hey Phil, I'm going to be entering my first ever gaming tournament this year at CEO 2011 in Orlando, Florida. Actually, I might be at that tournament too, so this might be an interesting question. This guy says, I'm most likely going to be entering Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I'm just wondering if you could give us tournament news, some advice on what to expect from these tournaments. I know that every tournament will be different, but from what I've seen on YouTube and other sites, it looks very confusing at some parts, where it looks like there may be 500 people in a room just standing around and only one person announcing names and telling people to go to a certain TV. Is there any advice that you could give me? It would be awesome, so I know what I'll be getting into when I enter future tournaments, and that's from Twisted Edge. I can't answer this as like a black and white answer because it really depends on who's running the tournament, how many people show up, and how professional these people are who have organized the event. Let me tell you this. I've gone to tournaments where there were over 300 people and the tournament ran super smooth. There were enough setups for everyone. There was also room to do casual play. There were no hiccups. There were no problems. There were no crashes. There was nothing dramatic or anything like that happening. It was a really well-run tournament. On the flip side of that, I've gone to tournaments with only 100 people where the people who were running it had no fucking idea what the hell they were doing. They refused to listen to anyone who wanted to help them and insisted that they could do it by themselves, didn't have enough setups, didn't have enough going on, didn't have enough people to even run the tournament brackets, to the point where, as this guy's saying, 500 people standing around, one asshole calling people to TVs, no one can fucking hear him, everyone's missing their turn. If you really want some good advice for tournaments, there's a couple things. Number one, always make sure that if you're leaving the tournament area for any reason and you're still in a tournament, notify one of the tournament directors. Say, listen, I really, really have to take a shit. There's nothing I can do about it, and if you call me in the next 15 minutes while I go back to my hotel room to take a shit, we're going to have a problem. And usually if you tell them something like that, or if you say, listen, I've been here for 6 hours, I've been playing, but I'm starving, we have to make a food run, they'll usually be understanding, and they'll put your name to the side and wait for you to get back until, so you can continue to play your matches. If you just disappear like a phantom, chances are you're going to get disqualified from the tournament, and that's going to ruin your tournament experience. Also, I have to say, when you go to these tournaments, patience. Patience is a virtue. You're going to need a lot of it. And the other thing is, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but every tournament I go to these days, I still see it. There's still a lot of elitism and favoritism towards the known players, meaning you might end up standing around staring saying, all of these stations are occupied. Why? I thought there was supposed to be casual play at this tournament. Then you find out that one top Marvel player is running a one station over there and refuses to get up. One top Street Fighter 4 player is on that station over there doing a money match. And that kind of stuff ends up happening, and stations end up getting hogged, and it is really fucking annoying. Now, when I go to these tournaments, I say, hey, guess what? Such and such, I've known you for 10 years, get the fuck off this station because I want to play the game. And usually, when you threaten them like that, they get the fuck up because none of them want to fight. None of them want to step outside and get their ass beat. But patience. I just have to say, patience is a virtue. You're going to need a lot of it if you plan to go to these tournaments, especially if it's one that either the head count's higher than they expected. Oh, my alarm's going off. The head count's higher than they expected, or they just don't know what they're doing. So, all right, that's it for part 1 of Ask the King this week. I'll be back with part 2, answering a lot more questions, and then we're going to get to the Twitter questions. I may have to move even faster, but I think some of these questions coming up are a little bit quicker, so I might be able to answer them, without as much elaboration. So I'll be right back.